because we covered this whole primary yesterday, but I want to deep dive into it a little bit more because since I've started covering Zohran Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani is his name, and he's 33 years old, and he's trying to become mayor of New York City. He defeated a former governor of New York yesterday with a ground game and a social media plan that allowed for him to be able to bring out younger voters. Yes, yes, yes. So let's talk about New York for a second, all right? Zohran Mamdani. The Trump administration actually said that, well, I'll show you it for myself. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it.
To the latest,
he's the new superstar of the Democratic Party. You see how fast people become superstars in the Democratic Party? They reaching for straws. They grasping for straws. They're taking anything and anybody that'll invigorate the party.
The stunning upset in New York City's mayoral primary, sending shockwaves through the Democratic Party. Zohran Mamdani was a little-known state lawmaker until recently. Now he's beaten nearly a dozen challengers, including former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, joined us now, and you spoke with Mamdani. Good morning.
I spoke to him just yesterday. Good morning to you all. He was a little-known state assemblyman until just a few weeks ago, but his victory in the Democratic primary for mayor.
A little-known assemblyman who didn't really pass any laws is now the face of the Democratic Party. Ain't that? I know Jasmine Crockett is pissed, and we're going to get to Yamin in a minute. I know Yamin is angry right now.
Did deliver shockwaves in a party that is struggling to define its message and a path forward. This morning, Zohran Mamdani calling for a new generation of leaders after delivering a stunning upset in New York City's Democratic primary for mayor.
And I think that there is a need for a new generation of leadership.
The self-described Democratic socialist skyrocketed past former New York Governor Andrew.
He's a self-described Democratic socialist. He's Bernie Sanders, but a younger version of it.
Cuomo. His campaign laser focused on making New York more affordable, a strategy he tells me could be a blueprint for Democrats.
I think there's a question of how we return back to what made so many of us proud to be Democrats.
How do you do that?
And I think it's that focus on an economic agenda, on ensuring that people can do more than just struggle.
He campaigns on freezing rents, making buses free, and opening city-run supermarkets, telling voters.
Freezing rents, y'all. Freezing rents. That is his campaign promise, and it's nothing easier to get people finessed than to say that I am going to freeze the amount that you guys can pay. If I am a New Yorker, if I am a real estate person that is holding property in New York, not a developer is much different than a person that is a property owner, a landlord. If I am a New Yorker, and it's no guarantee that he's going to beat the incumbent, but I wouldn't wait for it. I wouldn't be waiting for it. If I was a New Yorker, I would be getting the hell out of Dodge. If I was a New Yorker that had money, let's put it like that. If I was a developer, a property owner, a business owner, I would be getting the hell up out of Dodge immediately. And I agree, Red Cup. Red Cup Talks with Mika. Make sure y'all go and subscribe to that channel. I would absolutely, positively be getting the hell out of Dodge. New York City is already rent controlled. New York City has never really done anything about squatters. New York City, you can't even raise the rent past a certain amount. Do you know that there are landlords of buildings that will not add people into the building? They're just waiting for people to die off or for the building to completely get emptied and for people to leave their leases because they won't renew people leases and stuff like that. They're trying their hardest to get everybody out so they can sell the building. The building is not as attractive to own because you can't raise the rents to be market prices. And people that's paying a little bit of rent, and they will never move because they don't want to change the price that they're paying because it is rent controlled. It's basically anti-capitalism, that the cost for the actual building holders is going up substantially and they cannot meet the expectations. And so they're just trying to hold on until they eventually can sell the building, demolish it, and then build something completely different. Working class and lower class have no chance in America. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're an absolute liar. That is the biggest lie that I've ever heard. As a matter of fact, I would say that you have more of a chance to be successful in America than ever before. This is the lazy comment. I call this the lazy comment section. This is a sassy comment. You have more of an opportunity to get rich than ever before in life. You have less of a barrier to entry. I know motherfuckers that get rich that don't even leave their house. You don't even have to leave your house. People don't even have to create a product, have a service. They don't even have to create a business anymore in order for you to get rich. It is so easy to have multiple jobs. You don't even have to work as hard anymore. And you're telling me that you are... Good times create weak men. Good times create weak men. I see people getting rich every single... Bro, there are 1,700 new millionaires every single day in the United States of America. And you telling me that you can't get rich? That you can't run up a bag?
He will pay for his agenda by raising taxes on wealthy and corporations. But that would certainly face major challenges getting approval in the state legislature. And this morning, he's also facing questions about his own experience at just 33 years old with only 5 years in the state assembly.
And the experience that I show in this moment is to be able to meet the crisis that New Yorkers are facing and deliver them a new kind of city, one that is unencumbered by the old ways.
In November, he'll face New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
He's a snake oil salesman. Mm-hmm. He will say and do anything to get elected.
And the reason why Eric Adams is right about this, let me tell you the honest to God truth. The reason why Eric Adams is right about this is because you can say these things, you can promise these things, and this is the reason why he's a little known assemblyman that has never had any real laws passed in the first place. Because you have to get the buy-in from the people that ultimately create the laws that allow for you to be able to do some of these things. So you becoming mayor, this is another reason why I wouldn't be interested in being an elected official, because you have safeguards in place that is supposed to help the people, but a lot of times, depending on what it is that's being proposed, it hurts the people. The reason why it was important for us to win all three branches of government was because even if Trump had become president without all three of those branches of government becoming successful, it would be much more difficult for us to pass the bills. It would be much more difficult for us to get the tax bills done. It would be much more difficult for us to get the budgets done. It would be much more difficult for us to pass certain laws, because he wouldn't have the buy-in of the other three branches of government. When you come to talk about Congress and they're pulling the purse strings, it's the same thing that happens on a city level. The mayor often at times will propose a budget or propose changes. The city council are the ones that then have to agree to it and approve it, which is why you need to be more involved with local politics more than even international politics or national politics, because what happens on a local level definitely affects you. So when you talk about this guy, for example, and you saying, and Eric Adams says, well, he's just talking shit, right? He just saying stuff. Eric Adams even knows, as a politician and as the mayor of New York City, how difficult it is to get things passed if it doesn't have buy-in from the people of New York City, including the legislators, city council in Chicago, the alderman. The alderman often at times stops Brandon Johnson from being able to pass things through because it's not a reflection of what the people want. They are there to represent the people. So anybody can say anything. Anybody can promise the most. But see, people are so dumb and people are so gullible that they'll just buy into campaign rhetoric because he's the new star of the Democrat Party. Just woke up yesterday, now he's the new star.
Adams was indicted on corruption charges, which were later dismissed.
Facts. If you want to get people to buy in for something, promise them free stuff. Free health care. How's that working for you, Canada? Rent control. Free transportation to move in and about. And they ask him, hey, well, so how you going to pay for it? Are we just going to tax the top 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%? We going to throw some more taxes on them? They going to pay for it. So wait a minute. You telling me the business owners and the people that have the capability of moving and getting up out of there whenever they want to, they choose to live there. They're not stuck in New York City. They choose to be there. You're telling me that they're going to voluntarily spend an extra $10 billion to ensure that everybody else get free stuff. Okay. And the people bought into this dumb shit. The most highest tax city in the United States of America is willing to pay more in tax. They're willing to pay more than 50%. They're willing to go to 51, 52, 53, 54, 55% in taxes. So if you make $1 million, you really only made $500,000. If you made $500,000, you really only made $250,000. That is disrespectful. That is disrespectful.
The Trump administration. During our interview, the president
Ask Los Angeles how that's working out for him.
Going on the attack.
So President Trump just weighed in and called you a communist lunatic. What do you say to that?
You know, this is not the first time that President Trump is going to comment on myself.
The next mayor of New York City will have to work with the Trump administration. Are you willing to do that? Will you do that?
I will work with the Trump administration when it is to the benefit of New Yorkers. My approach will never be reflexive, whether in agreement or opposition, but if it comes at the expense of the New Yorkers that I'm running to serve, then no, I will not be working with the administration on harming the people that I look to represent.
So some Democrats are still trying to wrap their heads around his...
AKA illegal migrants. AKA people that's not supposed to be in the United States of America. AKA, because y'all...
Embracing his enthusiasm, his energy, but maybe not backing his policies just yet. As for Andrew Cuomo, he is not out of the race just yet. He's now considering running as an independent in the general election. There'll be a Republican on the ballot.
Nah, he just needs to let it go. Honest to God. Andrew Cuomo just needs to let it go and just let it rock, big dog.